What's up, everybody? It's your boy Justin from Justin Paul Sports. Just want to say welcome to Week 18 of the NFL season. Appreciate y'all tuning in. It is a beautiful Sunday morning out here out west in the desert. I know most of you probably blanketed in lousy weather. Can't say I miss it. I grew up in the Midwest, so it's terrible, terrible weather. But anyway, we're going to be talking all the Week 18 games against the spread. There's really no fantasy implications in this week as championships have already been determined last week. So congratulations to all the fantasy football champions. And with that being said, I want to bring my co-host with the most, who was unfortunately unavailable last week, but things are a little bit smooth this week. Bobby, welcome to the show.
What's going on, guys? Last week of the NFL season. Hopefully we got a couple of you guys in the fantasy football championships. I know I had a good bit of championship appearances last week. Some of them went good, some of them went bad. We'll talk about them a little bit. But, yeah, I'm excited for the playoffs to happen. Obviously excited to see what shapes up with the college football playoff. Let's see who goes to the championship, the national championship, that is. So, yeah, I'm excited. Football season's almost wrapping up. We're doing our rookie spotlights and stuff like that. I've got a lot of rookies graded or to-be rookies graded.
Folks, if you're here and you're for Dynasty Fantasy Football, you got to subscribe to Bobby's channel. He puts out content all the time, rookie rankings, uses film, tells you why everybody is ranked where they're ranked, volume opportunities, where to get the quality value in the draft and your rookie drafts. You know, whether it's to skip on this guy in the first round, the third round, fourth round. I know the 2026 class is kind of weak, but that's why you need to tune into his channel, because you will definitely find some gems. In fact, for those of you tuning into the first time, Bobby and I did way back in the summer, we did an SEC and Big Ten preview, and Bobby found a few gems. I think it was a running back in particular you hadn't seen any film on. His name escapes me, but I want to say it was during the Big Ten preview. Was it the Rutgers running back? I can't recall, but I know that you were like really enjoying what you saw on tape with him.
There's a lot of guys that are really intriguing, like Missouri, Ahmad Hardy from Lafayette Monroe. He was really good. Obviously, he's one of the best running backs in the country now, but had my eyes on him. Had my eyes on Ian Strong. He should be a day 2 guy, second, maybe early third round at the worst. He's a big physical receiver out of Rutgers. I was really impressed to see what he did this year. But yeah, there's a ton of guys. If you watch these rosters, especially the guys that are transferring over, you look at the offenses and stuff like that and just kind of see how these guys might mesh. And yeah, there's a lot of guys. You know, one guy that really kind of slipped under the radar really this year that I was not prepared for was the running back that transferred out of Tulane, Mekhi Hughes, I think is his name. I forget. He transferred to Oregon. He didn't do anything this year. He's done nothing. But he was 1,400-yard rusher both years at Tulane, and he's done nothing. So, but anyways, I'm excited, man. Well, let's go ahead and talk some football. We'll start off with the NFL. Baby. We'll start off with the NFL, just kind of going over what happened yesterday. First game that happened was this game right here, the Carolina Panthers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We just knew this was going to be a really close nail-biter game. Bryce Young, all things considered, had a decent day. Obviously had the one interception, but Baker Mayfield is continuing to struggle with this offense. You know, you got guys like Bucky Irving, who hasn't been great with his carries, but you see he's still getting 26 carries. I think he's a good guy to keep on your radar for fantasy next year because he's just getting a ton of carries. But, I mean, he's got all of his guys. He's got Mike Evans. He's got Chris Godwin, Emeka Egbuka, Kate Otten, Tez Johnson even I loved out of Oregon coming out. Jalen McMillan's back as well. He's fully healthy here. I know they're a little banged up on the offensive line, but, like, Baker Mayfield had, like, an MVP first 6 games, and then after that he just kind of fell off a cliff. But the big problem with the Panthers, they cannot run the football here lately. Chuba has been underwhelming. Rico fell off a cliff after about week 11. So, yeah, I mean, they're going to have to figure this out.
There were a couple penalties that negated
some big chunk
Rico
plays.
Dowdle getting some big yards, though. He would have probably, I think, had at least 50 or 60 yards. I know he broke one explosive run and they called it back. The officiating in this game was awful. Did you see it? Like, there was all the penalties seemed to go for Tampa Bay. They basically dragged them by the hair to win that game.
Yeah.
People were complaining about it, and rightfully so. I mean, this is a critical game.
Yes.
Downpouring in the rain, you
I
know.
think, if you want to get onto the conspiracy side of things, obviously, if the Carolina Panthers win this game, nobody's going to watch that Saints Falcons game. So that makes
Uh,
that game a lot more exciting now, because basically whoever wins that game decides whether the Panthers or the Bucks are making the playoffs. And one
yeah.
last thing I want to note here, Tedero McMillan is continuing to be
Yes.
a pseudo deep threat. He's a
Yep.
3-level just threat all over the field. He can get open underneath. He has the hands to get these deep contested catches, even though he's not the fastest guy. But yeah, I'm excited. Obviously, the Panthers are pulling for the Falcons today, and the Buccaneers are pulling for the Saints today. Whoever wins that
That is crazy.
decides.
Can you
Isn't that
imagine?
crazy?
Like, it's crazy. I couldn't imagine pulling for the Bears or the Lions. I mean, I know why they're doing it, because they obviously want to make the playoffs. I mean, we've talked about the NFC South all season, how it's our favorite season because it's just it's the most fun division every year. It's just like a bunch of people playing Halo that aren't very good, and they keep constantly getting their kill death ratio is about the same. But
Yep.
somehow somebody's got to qualify. They
Yep.
should change the rules in the NFL to just make it the best teams get in. Just the top seven. Get rid of these divisional champs. Get a automatic home game. It's just like college football playoff needs to do the same thing. Like, just because you win a certain conference doesn't mean that you should clinch. Like, you have to be a top 12 team in the college football BCS or whatever formula you want to use. In the NFL, you would just use wins and losses, because
Yeah.
I don't think either team's going to make a run. I mean, I'm hopeful that the Panthers make the playoffs because I want to see Bryce Young, who I thought was one of the best Alabama quarterbacks ever. I mean, Heisman Trophy, goes #1 overall. People tease him about his size, but progressively has gotten better. Every year
Yeah.
he's gotten better. His completion percentage has gone up, and the Panthers are on the cusp of a playoff run. I think that they're going to get a running back in the draft, but that was a good game. That was a tough game. Tampa, I think, did cover the line. What was the other game yesterday? It was the NFC West,
Yeah,
the number
this
one
is a big
seed.
one. This is for the #1 seed. And all right, guys, the Seattle Seahawks are the real deal. I mean, they can go out there and they run the ball more than any football team in the country. I mean, you can see that 39 attempts on the ground, crazy. And both of their running backs are quite talented. Kenneth Walker, when healthy, is, in my opinion, a top 10 running back in the NFL. He just doesn't get the carries. In terms of talent, he's a top 10 running back. But you saw he was very efficient, 6.1 yards per carry. Zach Charbonnet, they bust off like a 25-yard touchdown. He's just been a touchdown machine this year. I think he's up to 12 touchdowns on the year now. And you see Sam Darnold. The numbers aren't gaudy in terms of the yards, touchdowns, or interceptions, but look at that completion percentage. 20 of 26. He was just game managing the whole game. This Kubiak offense just really can just kill you at any stage of the game. And, San Francisco and Seattle, their offenses are very similar, but you can see whoever goes up early, it's, those Army-Navy games where, they just control the possession.
Well, I mean, when you're looking at this, like, here's something that's really, really a testament to the Seattle Seahawks defense is Brock Purdy averaging 4 yards a throw.
Yep.
On 19 throws. I mean, Darnold wasn't better. The interception, though, I think at the end there was absolutely the game changer. I mean, perfect bounce off McCaffrey's hands into that defender's hands. And sometimes the ball just bounces your way. I mean, these teams are serious threats. I like the Seahawks a little more than the 49ers just because defensively they're absolutely stacked.
Yeah.
The 49ers defense, even though they only gave up 13 points yesterday, they showed that they were getting gashed on the ground, like you said. You're averaging 6 yards a carry with Walker. You got two guys practically getting 100 yards, splitting carries. So your run defense, like, you get a team that knows how to run the football in the playoffs, and you're going to have a big-time problem. I think Chicago would beat them again. Or not again, but I think Chicago would beat them in a rematch if they get their running game going, because they're missing Fred Warner and Nick Bosa for their run defense. It makes and I'm not hyper impressed with the 49ers secondary. I know everybody likes Lenore, but they missed a lot of plays yesterday. I think that this, you've got to have these kinds of things right at this juncture in the season going into the playoff. I mean, both these teams get the extra day off. Seattle gets to sit back, relax, and enjoy a wild card weekend. And we're going to see some scenarios for week. I guess just the wild card in general with a few of these games that are playing off. Any other notes on here? I mean, look at how low the receiving is. Jennings, had 4 grabs for 35 yards. They just couldn't get anything. The Seattle Seahawks smothered them yesterday. They played
Well,
great
I feel
football.
like with both of these teams, if you shut down the running attack, the team just becomes really one-dimensional. You see Christian McCaffrey, right, just did not get much going on the ground. 12 total carries. 12 total carries for the San Francisco 49ers. Christian McCaffrey's averaging like 18 attempts a game. This was really, they were playing from behind, and, both of these teams don't really play well from behind. And once you get the running game going for both of these, offenses, these West Coast style offenses, whoever gets the run game going, that means the pass game is going to be going because they can get you going off play action. Jackson Smith-Njigba is probably the best wide receiver in football right now, and you see their running game worked. You see the receiving totals for JSN. Their running game did not work. None of their guys got anything going. So it's really about these teams getting the run game going. And if Christian McCaffrey continues, I know he's been amazing this year, but he hasn't been super efficient on the ground, even though he's getting a ton of carries. I think maybe give Brian Robinson Jr., the former Alabama Crimson Tide running back, a little bit more carries, try to split it a little bit more, especially this deep in the season, just kind of because he's been fairly efficient when given work as well. So definitely interested to see how these teams go throughout the playoffs. Obviously, Seattle gets a bye, but let's go ahead and get into the games that are happening today. And there's no better team, no better game to go over here first than the 6-10 New Orleans Saints, who have been on a heater here lately, versus the Atlanta Falcons. Kirk Cousins has shown that, hey, I can play quarterback, guys. Last year was just not that great. And then New Orleans with Tyler Shuck, he's been playing pretty good football. I think people are overrating him a little bit too much now because of the quarterback win statistic here lately. But I think Tyler Shuck is a decent quarterback. I think he's average. And guys, I'm just telling you this now for fantasy and dynasty purposes, stay away from Tyler Shuck. He is going to be
protecting the ball lately, though.
He's been protecting the ball. He's done that pretty much his whole college career. He's not, even if they add more pieces around him, he's just not a top 15 quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion. And he's going to be valued way higher than that in Dynasty next year just because of what he's done. It's the same thing with Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett, I feel like, is an anomaly this year. He's been great, but him and Tyler Shuck, they've both been putting over 20 fantasy points a game. Obviously, Shuck's younger, so he's going to have more value, but both of these guys you need to stay away from.
So are you saying in this game that which team needs New Orleans to win to make the playoffs? Is it Tampa?
Tampa needs the Saints to win. Panthers.
So are Tampa fans going to be excited at the end of the game, or are they going to be saying, "Ah, shucks"?
I think the Saints are going to win this.
That joke just went over your head, Bobby. I made a pun there, and you didn't even sell it. You can't no-sell me. This is our WrestleMania show. You understand? When you no-sell, you get a receipt for that.
Well,
incredible.
I do think the Saints are going to win. I do think so. I think they're playing with way more momentum than the Falcons. The Falcons, since Michael Penix is out for the year, Bijan's been playing great football here lately, but the Saints defensively have been decent. And, Chris Olave, he should be playing this game, I hope. I don't know if they've ruled him out yet, but I know he had a surgery last week for his appendix or something. But yeah, I think the Saints win this football game. They are 3.5-point favorites, or 3.5-point underdogs. So, they are going on the road. I think the Saints cover here. I think this will be, if it is a loss, I think the Saints can keep it close enough to between 3 points or so.
Well, because I'm a masochist, I'm going to watch the Packers and the Vikings and watch Clayton Tune take on J.J. McCarthy in just that absolute NFC South style feel. But I'm going to take the Falcons to win the game and cover here. I think this game is actually going to be hyper exciting. But I do think Kirk Cousins is going to go out there and make sure that he plays sound football. He's still, they're paying him a lot of money. He's a veteran. The Falcons can get to 8-9. This isn't going to impact their draft stock either way. It's a home game. They've been I think they're gonna keep going here as well. Excuse me. I know what you're saying about the Saints being out of heater, but the Falcons haven't exactly been lousy either.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping not. And I'm not. When I bet, I put all the like scenarios that I want to play out. I disengage from that completely because I want to make sure that I'm giving my audience what I think on the picks. And for YouTube, I need you to understand that I don't guarantee anything. These are just the picks that I take for the game, and there are hundreds of channels that make picks every week, so I got to be very clear on that. We endorse sports betting where it's legal. We have to make sure that we understand that. But nonetheless, because I want more strikes on my account, but nonetheless, I'm taking the Falcons here. I like what they're doing with Kyle Pitts. I like Bijan Robinson over anything that the Saints got in the backfield. I think that this is going to be a hyper fun game. I think the Falcons win. I think Bryce Young goes to the playoffs. And I think Kirk Cousins finishes strong. And maybe next year we might, I'm not certain, but maybe the Falcons move on from Raheem Morris. I mean, this has been a team that's just stuck in mediocrity ever since that Super Bowl.
7 wins, 8 wins is their
they're the
ceiling.
Pittsburgh Steelers of the NFC without the playoff appearances.
Yep.
It's what they are. And this is a division where if you make a couple
very
moves,
winnable,
you can absolutely go out there and win it. I'm not the biggest Arthur Blank fan. I'm not. I think that he's just a goofy guy, and I don't know what it is about him. But I wish that the Falcons would just absolutely get some key players. They need to get another pass rusher. They're going to have to make a decision here on Kyle Pitts. And I think they're going to have to start looking a little bit more at their quarterback situation. I know they drafted Penix in the first round. I'm not so sure that he's the guy. I like Kalen DeBoer. Don't get me wrong. He's an Alabama coach, and he had Penix and Odunze and Polk over there in Washington and made the national championship. He beat Caleb Williams, by the way. But nonetheless, I think that we're going to see the Falcons win this game, cover the spread. I think they'll win by a touchdown. I think Kyle Pitts has himself a 2-touchdown game here. This is the guy I think is going to get it done. And NFC South, you never disappoint. You're near and dear to my heart. You're like my favorite. It's like that favorite. Back in the 90s, WCW used to run Nitro, and it was 3 hours long, and they had the luchas on the undercard. That's what the NFC South is. You still watch because you're going to see some quality non-main event type of stuff. So let's get Bryce Young in the playoffs. Let's make this happen, Atlanta. I like the Falcons to cover. I like what Kirk Cousins can do over Tyler Shutt.
And in my opinion, man, I feel like the Panthers are the better football team. Regardless of the offensive star power that the Buccaneers have, defensively, they're a liability. And honestly, I think the Panthers have a better resume this year. And I am going to flip. I never flip, but I just saw that Olave, obviously Kamara's been out, but Olave is out. So, I mean, I don't know who they're going to be throwing to. That's a big deal. And I think Shuck's going to struggle here. So I'm going to go -3.5 on the Falcons. I don't ever switch, but just saw that. Also, I did not know Cam Jordan had 9.5 sacks. He had I think 1 sack last year and played every single game. He was not good last year at all. This year he's on the cusp of 10 sack season. At his age is kind of crazy. So good stuff. Also, Demario Davis went to my high school. So cool stuff. Anyways, we're gonna go to. Honestly, I think both of these teams massively underperformed this year. Cleveland Browns 4-12. Just the quarterback situation, the offensive situation in general has just not been good. I feel like they hit on their second-round pick with Judkins. They hit on their third-round pick with they hit on both of their second-round picks. Judkins has been good this year. Obviously, he has the season-ending injury, sucks. But the linebacker, Carson from UCLA, has been amazing. Probably defensive rookie of the year. Harold Fannin is probably a top 6-7 tight end in fantasy. One of the better receiving threats in the NFL at the position. He was their third-round pick. I mean, they've had one of the best drafts of pretty much any team, right? Yep. And they get an extra first-round pick next year because of the whole Travis Hunter thing. So I think the Cleveland Browns, is in terms of a front office, has been doing really good things. They just cannot figure out the quarterback position. I think I would be shocked if they don't figure out the quarterback position either in free agency or in the draft. So 4-12 with that defense is just inexcusable. Stefanski, I feel like, is on the hottest of seats. He's one of their best head coaches probably ever, but well, since they've been bad, but he's got to figure out something. I mean, you got enough people on this offense where you have to figure it out. And then they're going on the road to play Cincinnati, 6-10. Obviously, the Burrow injury just killed this team's hopes and dreams. Obviously, they're back. They've still been playing pretty decent on defense the past few weeks. Obviously, the offense is great with Burrow, Chase, and T. Higgins. But let's see, it's -7.5 for the Bengals here. That's a pretty perfect line in my opinion because the Browns can keep any game close. I know Shedeur is going to be out there. I think the Bengals smash them by 10, and I'm going to go with the Bengals here.
I'm going to take the Browns in this just because I think they're going to fight for Stefanski's job. I've ranted weeks and weeks and weeks about them not firing him. I think that the GM has absolutely fumbled the quarterback situation by getting the Deshaun Watson deal. If they used Stefanski as a fall guy, this is a coach that's taken the Browns to the playoffs twice. The Browns had never been worth a lick prior to that since they've re-expanded back in 99. I mean, this is the guy you need to keep around. There's plenty of talent there. I think that he needs to get a quarterback in this draft. In the first round, there's got to be, depends where they fall in the draft, or I think that's got to be what it is because it's not going to be Shedeur Sanders. He throws a ton of interceptions. It's not going to be Dylan Gabriel because he's not efficient.
I think he's just a game manager, right?
I think what the Browns need to do is if they've got a quarterback that they really love and they think can be a franchise player, they need to get him in this draft and save Stefanski. Or if they fire Stefanski, what you do is you draft more players to build around the quarterback heavy class of 2027 and punt on next season. I know Browns fans don't want to hear that, and I'm not a big fan of that because there's only a handful of prospects that are quarterbacks worth a lick in this draft. So I would say that the Browns do have a lot of great pieces. That Greg Newsome trade worked out really well for them. He hasn't exactly been elite down there in Jacksonville, and the guy they got in return is balling and isn't, going to get as high of a payday as Newsome will down there in Jacksonville. So I thought that was a savvy move. I just don't think Stefanski's lost the team. I think that the quarterback position has been such a gaping hole that they haven't been. And I don't think it's fully his fault. I mean, Flacco was their guy. I mean, look at Shedeur. He's 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. His attitude sucks. When they ask him questions, he's real dismissive. And he can't talk like a normal human being. He's got like well, what do you mean we gonna do? Like, who you think you talking? Like, man, get out of here. Get out of here. They need to get somebody that can run the ball, which they have in Judkins, and they have Dylan Sampson. So they've got young running backs. They've got the tight end. They've got great defensive players. They need I say next year, you put Deshaun Watson out there. You've got to put him out there. He's on your payroll, and he's a veteran. And I think he gives Stefanski one more season with the healthy Deshaun Watson, who seems like he's committed to playing for the Browns, who seems like he's committed to football, and finally put all this nonsense past him, and draft a quarterback because you're not going to stick with Deshaun. And then maybe Deshaun Watson comes out and is Deshaun Watson old. I mean, we've seen quarterbacks like Sam Darnold have a resurgence. Coming off an Achilles is something, but we'll see. Maybe they go out and get Kirk Cousins. I just don't think
also coming off an Achilles injury, right? He's looked like he's figured it out a little bit. I felt like last year Kirk Cousins just could not move. I think he was not fully healthy, and this is fully healthy.
Same thing with Rodgers. Rodgers came back from that Achilles last year and was kind of hobbling around. Now this year he's a little bit older, obviously, so he's got some. But I'm taking the Browns to cover 7.5.
Yeah, and obviously you see on the Browns side, Judkins obviously out for the season. You've got a mix of Dylan Sampson, Jerome Ford. I don't think either one of those guys are anything spectacular. Harold Fannin, their leading receiver. That's crazy, isn't it? The Bowling Green tight end leads this team in receiving yards. Myles Garrett's obviously going to play so he can try to get that last sack for the record. Schlesinger is out. Jordan Battle, Crimson Tide. Miles Murphy, kind of a first-round bust for them. He leads the team with 5.5 sacks, so that's really sad. But everybody's playing. Chase Brown, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow. They don't have a lot of outs, so that's why I feel like the Bengals are really going to run them over. But definitely excited to see this game for sure. But next up, shout out us. We're gonna be watching this game live right after this show.
That's right.
So if you guys want to watch us just kind of have a watch party here, go over the game play by play, kind of give us our thoughts on the game as it's going live. You can watch us right after this show is over. Excited to see what the Green Bay Packers and the Vikings. How are the Vikings 8-8? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Like, they've been on a run.
I get it, but man, that is wild. Obviously, Clayton Tune's going to be making his start.
Before we go over the preview, if you look at their last few games that the Vikings have played, they've just been playing red-hot football. I think sometimes when a team has nothing to lose, they follow the lead of their coach. I mean, they've been cooking. Look at that, 4 straight wins. They've won, but they've all been kind of lousy teams. I mean, the Commanders stink. The Cowboys aren't great. The Giants are definitely not great.
Lions are decent, but they've just
the Lions are banged up. Defensively, they're banged up, and Jared Goff giving them 5 turnovers on Christmas Day was a gift to Packers fans because that clinched the division or clinched a playoff spot for Green Bay. So, shout out to Jared Goff for absolutely stinking it up there. I just want to say
killing my hopes and prayers of getting a fantasy football championship in my league.
More like
Mahomes got hurt and Goff was my other guy.
Wait. You mean Jared Goof?
Yeah, goofball, dude. For sure, goofball.
That's right. I'm throwing these puns out there today, folks. But let's talk about the game. Clayton Tune is getting the start. They're resting Jordan Love, even though he's cleared concussion protocol. I hope they sit Josh Jacobs because his knee's just been he hasn't missed any. He's only missed a couple games, I think, and he's constantly getting taken out for
Emmanuel Wilson,
yeah, and which has been effective running. He's been pretty good running the football. He's a great backup. He's like Jordan Mason kind of with the efficiency of running the bruising style of football. But I'm going to tell you, Matt LaFleur, the Packers are on a losing streak here, and they absolutely got their asses handed to them in that Ravens game last week.
Yeah.
Pushed around on the line of scrimmage. If you check my YouTube channel, you can watch the replay of me calling that game, just screaming. The Packers were just getting beat by simple I formation, toss sweeps, inside handoffs. The Ravens ran nothing exciting. They didn't run complex orbit motion, none of that nonsense. They basically lined up on the line of scrimmage, said, we're going to shove you around, and they did. Now, to the Packers' credit, they did claim Jonathan Ford back off the Bears practice squad after the Packers drafted him and released him. He is a Packers fan favorite, just a big dude. He's going to be great inside in the interior lineman. The Packers are definitely missing Wyatt and Parsons, and it's made such a difference for their Super Bowl hopes. I mean, I think when you see the Packers, it feels like they're going to play at Chicago next week in the wild card game. So that's definitely a matchup that I actually feel okay about. I mean, they are the 7th seed and all the games are on the road, and it's not trolling the Bears. I think that, the last time they played Chicago, it took a miracle for the Bears to pull it off. Everybody talked about how Caleb Williams did it. Well, Caleb Williams didn't do nothing until that onside kick. So it's just, I think that they've got a game plan for Chicago. I think they got a pretty good chance here. But the spread is 12.5, and that's because of the quarterback situation. I'm going to take it. I'm going to take the 12.5 here just because that's a ton of points. Week 18 lines are all crazy. I think you're going to see the Packers run the ball. They're not going to put a lot on tape, for the Bears next week against this Vikings team. The Vikings may want to go out there and put belt to rear end and try and absolutely get some momentum in the offseason, even though I'm not a believer in momentum like that, because momentum can be taken away. It's not something you can sustain. It can change on one play. So I don't think that any team owns momentum, but they have won 4 straight, so they haven't given up on the coach. He's a good coach. It's indoor, so there's no weather here. I think we're going to see tons of backups in for the Packers. Maybe Trayvon Diggs, who got claimed off Dallas, gets some reps. I'd like to see that, get him acclimated in this offense. I hope the Packers keep him. And that's not Alabama bias. I think that there's something to be said about him and Micah Parsons. There's something in Dallas. There's a cloud there. And both those guys were Cowboys. Now they're in Green Bay. And Micah Parsons came out playing great. Maybe Trayvon Diggs has a whole new mentality because there's nothing to do in Green Bay but watch the snow, eat cheese, and watch the Packers. You betcha. Give me the Packers 12.5. What says you, Bobby?
Honestly, I feel like this is good. I would stay away from the spread. I'd go with the under here. I'd go with the under because I feel like the Packers are, like you said, they're going to run the ball. They're going to keep, I think maybe 22 to 24 pass attempts for Clayton Tune at the very most. You're going to see a lot from Emmanuel Wilson. Is Marshawn Lloyd playing for you guys? Is he banged up?
Still injured. He's not playing.
Jeez Louise. Well, I do think the Packers, they're going to keep it low scoring. They're going to try to play some hard-nosed defense, and they're just going to play a lot of time of possession game here. Hopefully the Vikings can get something going with JJ and Justin Jefferson. Hopefully some chemistry starts happening there, because I own JJ in way too many leagues. JJ isn't Justin Jefferson. I need him to start being efficient here, and JJ McCarthy is just not a good quarterback. So I'm going to go, if I had to lean, I'd say any team has a chance of covering 10 points, no matter who's starting at quarterback. So I'm going to go with Green Bay plus 12.5 here. Next game here, New York Giants. They're playing at home versus the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys trying to end their season at 500. The Giants, I mean, they have just really been a piss-poor team.
Yes.
Which is surprising, because they hit on their running back with Scadaboo. Dart has been pretty efficient, right? Their defensive line has been pretty solid as well. Brian Burns has been killing it with the sacks. He started off really hot, but they just haven't equated to any wins. None of these. I know Malik Neighbors getting hurt has been a really big thing, but Wan'Dale Robinson, he's over 1,000 yards this year. He stepped in pretty well, but yeah, I like whatever the line is. I'm going to say Dallas Cowboys -3. The Giants just cannot figure out how to win football games, and I don't think that changes. So I'm going to go with Dallas. I like their star power. I don't know who's out and who's not. Let me look real quick. I know Javonte they put on IR. Looks like everybody else. They're not going to have a running back. I guess it's going to be Jaden Blue out of Texas. Yeah, I guess we'll see. But Dak Prescott currently leads the NFL in passing yards. So like this offense, Dart has been good as long as he stays in the football game. Wan'Dale, he's not going to be playing. Brian Burns, 16.5 sacks. That's crazy. But, I like the Dallas Cowboys -3 here pretty easily, in my opinion.
I'm just going to take the Giants +3 here. It's really tough to gauge these Week 18 games, and there's going to be gems here. But when both teams have nothing to play for, the Giants technically, I don't think they can get the number 1 seed or the number 1 overall pick. But even if they do that, I don't think there's anybody on the board that's game-changing that they would need. I think the Giants are going to draft a bunch of depth. They might go after that wide receiver out there at USC, Mekhi Lemon. I think that would help their team with Neighbors and Wan'Dale. I think you'd have yourself a nice little thing. Or they might go offensive line, which they really need help for to protect Jackson Dart.
So I think Wan'Dale Robinson is not a New York Giant next year. I think he's a free agent. I don't think they sign him.
Well, you never know. I mean, he did produce when this team was down. He's a smaller guy, though. Yeah. I liked him coming out of Kentucky. I thought he had some electric moves and stuff like that. There's a lot to like there. And he's not quit on a team when it's easy to quit when your coach gets fired, your quarterback gets hurt. You know, your running back gets hurt. They're missing Scadaboo. But I do like what Tracy does here. I'm going to take the Giants at home. Give me the points. Give me the Giants +3.
Uh-oh, he dropped off. That's all right. Well, I do want to say one thing while he's reconnecting. Javonte Williams, what in the world? 1,200 yards of insanity. George Pickens is picked up, right where he was supposed to leave off with the Pittsburgh Steelers, 1,400 yards, 9 touchdowns. So what's going on, man?
I don't know. The thing just lagged out there.
That's all right. Well, we're going to go to this next game. The Tennessee Titans going on the road to play the Jacksonville Jaguars, having themselves a great year, 12-4, 6-2 at home. The Titans have been playing a little bit better football ever since they fired their head coach. Regardless, -13.5 is crazy. I'm going to go +13.5 for the Titans just because, like you said, it doesn't matter who's playing quarterback. I think Cam Ward's a pretty solid football player. He just needs some weapons around him. So I like the Titans +13.5 here. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I think that's the right call. I'm going to take the Titans too. Cam Ward has absolutely been coming back from a tumultuous start to the season. I mean, it's shown progression over and over what's going on with Cam Ward. I think the Titans, they're really taking an opportunity. The owner basically said that they've got a GM in place, and then they said that they have a co-GM, but it's not the GM. Like, one guy's going to run the personnel, and another guy is going to run some other parts of managing the team. That's a unique approach, and I think that it might pay off here because it reduces what you're doing as far as running a football team, right? If you've got one guy that's got to be the GM and do all that stuff, maybe this is a whole new innovative approach. So we'll see. I know Amy Adams Strunk isn't exactly a popular name down there in Nashville, but the Titans do have a quarterback. They're going to be doing a head coaching search. I think Mike McCarthy would be the right guy for Cam Ward. Tony Pollard's got some incentives to score this week. I know that he's got some bonuses that are on the line. That's something we got to think about when we're putting in these games here. So I think we're going to see the Titans go out there and absolutely give an effort as far as what's going on with this game. The Jaguars are trying to seal the AFC South. I know Houston is red hot. Houston's defense is a Super Bowl caliber defense. I really think they're contenders to win the AFC. CJ Stroud, if he just starts getting it together, and just is an above average quarterback, you could see the Texans going in the draft and looking for a brand new running back in that backfield because Nick Chubb and Joe Mixon and whatever they got back there isn't exactly elite of talent. You can get a good running back later in the first round, or you can find somebody in free agency. But that's neither here nor there. I think the incentives for Tony Pollard to get his money is going to happen. I don't know exactly what it is. But the Titans feel like they've hit rock bottom and they're slowly ascending.
Yep.
Slowly. And I think that, like I was saying when you were away, they're doing this whole new unique process with a GM and a co-GM kind of thing. I don't know if you saw it. And I think the Titans are really rebuilding it from the bottom. They're going to have a top 5 pick. I would expect they keep drafting offensive line, but I think they need help in the secondary. They definitely need help at wide receiver. So, because you've got the receiving core is really bad. Expect them to take a receiver. Maybe Lemon goes here. It could be. There's a lot of things that they can do. I think their cap situation is pretty good, but I think Mike McCarthy is the ideal hire here. You want a veteran coach who's won at multiple places, have less pressure in Nashville than he would in Dallas.
Yep.
And Green Bay, ironically, because there's going to be no major expectations for the Titans next season. They know they're in rebuild mode. So I like McCarthy to get the job there. I think that'd be the smart move. So give me the Titans cover in this game.
Yeah, so I think they're going to be, I believe at this point, they're like top 5 in the draft right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe, and look, I like Jordan Tyson a lot. I think the physical is going to really hurt him. I think he's going to have some medical evaluations, and that's going to hurt him because he's got a laundry list of injuries throughout college. And I think that's going to make him slide a little bit. I think the Titans trade to the mid-teens in the draft. I think they trade back. That's what I would do because there's nobody in this draft that's, I don't think you need running back. I think Pollard's good enough there. Tajay Spears is a good enough backup. I think offensive line-wise, it could be better. But you need playmakers, and I think playmakers are going to be best in the teens to late round 1. I don't think Mekhi Lemon goes till probably 20, 25. I think Jordan Tyson goes 15 to 18 range, somewhere in there. So, yeah, I would trade out of this pick, let one of these quarterback-needy teams come up, grab your pick, just like the Browns did. Obviously, they didn't go quarterback. The Jaguars didn't. But anyways, I do like trading out of that pick if I'm the Titans GM. But talking about the Jaguars real quick, they have really done well under Liam Cohen, as I expected. I thought Trevor would have a little bit better of a year than this.
Yeah.
Obviously, here lately, he's been really turning it on. I think the momentum for Trevor Lawrence, especially going into next year, hopefully he doesn't crash and burn in the playoffs. But Trevor Lawrence, he's really high up there right now in terms of momentum. Travis Etienne's been really good as well. And shout out to Parker Washington. Travis Hunter going. Obviously, he got hurt, so there's that. But Brian Thomas Jr. has been healthy pretty much all year. Who would have thought Parker Washington would be leading this team in receiving yards at the end of the year? Brian Thomas Jr. has been really underwhelming this year. He's got a lot of his holes that I knew were there showed up. They were asking him to do way too much. He is a deep threat. I think that's what he is. I think he's a Christian Watson, and they were trying to utilize him like a number 1 receiver at all 3, like a Justin Jefferson, and he's just not that. And Parker Washington is closer to that than any other person on this team. I think Travis Hunter's the short to intermediate guy that can get you a lot of yak ability. He can get some balls deep downfield, but his route running's not there yet. Brian Thomas Jr., same sort of deal, except he's primarily a deep threat. I think Parker Washington, although he's not as good athletically or anything as either one of them two, he's a better route runner than anybody on this team, in my opinion. I think that's why he leads the Jaguars in receiving yards. But next up, what a fall from grace from the Indianapolis Colts. They started 7-1, I believe, or 6-1, something like that. They end their season 8-8.
Yep.
That Daniel Jones injury really just killed this team's momentum completely. Who would have thought that would have been? And also, just a really bad series of events, because I think Anthony Richardson would have got this team to the playoffs. He probably would have had a 10-win season maybe, but he still can win games. And I think he was ready to win a couple of games this year, but he breaks his orbital with a stretchy band. I mean, craziness. So he's out for the year probably. He's breaking your orbital is a really bad thing. Daniel Jones, I don't even know if he's going to be ready next year. So I thought Riley Leonard would get more starts than this, but he got hurt as well. So Phillip Rivers was your guy. I know Riley Leonard's getting the start in this game. What a really tough start for him, because the Texans have a great defense. They're looking to improve their record this week. Looks like -10 for the Texans. I think the Colts can cover here. I say this is the third time me saying this. It doesn't matter who's starting at quarterback. You can keep a game within 10 points, I think, especially with Jonathan Taylor. Is he playing? He looks like he's playing. Everybody else looks like Sauce is out, obviously. Yeah, so Sauce is the only one out. Yeah, I think the Colts can cover here. I think Riley Leonard's a good enough quarterback, at least as a game manager. I think they'll run him a lot, him and Jonathan Taylor, and they'll keep the time of possession going pretty well. And I just think the offense for the Texans is just really piss poor. 11-5 record. I think that's solely off the back of their defense. So I'm going to go with the Colts to cover here. Obviously, I don't think they win, though.
I'm taking the Texans to cover. I think the defense goes out there and smears the Colts. I think all the life is out of the Colts. Houston is still – this is where the NFL gets it smart, as we just saw with the Jaguars-Titans game. What we're seeing here with the Texans game is the Texans need to win to have a shot at the AFC South and get that home playoff game. They need the Titans to win as well. So they're going to be playing all their starters. They're going to be playing hard. They're going to play to for sure try to win that AFC South. I don't think they're going to leave a shadow of a doubt in this game. I think they're absolutely going to assault Riley Leonard. I think he's going to throw a pick six to probably Derek Stingley or somebody in the linebacking core. Every week I talk about the Texans defense. I love Daniel Hunter, Will Anderson, Henry To'oTo'o, Christian Harris, Jalen Petrie, Derek Stingley Jr. Everybody on that Texans defense is a playmaker. They're well coached. They're at home. They're playing for a division championship here. The Colts have had a collapse, which may cost Shane Steichen his job. I think his job could be up for here, regardless of the Daniel Jones injury you weren't able to overcome. And this is his third year in a row without a playoff appearance. We'll see what the Colts are doing. I mean, obviously they're over new ownership with Irsay passing away before the season started. So who knows what the shift's going to be down there in Indianapolis. But I think that the Texans are going to say, look, we're going to make you throw it to Alec Pierce today. And we trust our defense enough to give you nothing. And I think that all the wind is out of the sails of Indianapolis. I mean, the Phillip Rivers story was nice. He's a potential candidate for a head coach. NFL teams.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. Yeah, that's interesting.
But I'll take the Texans here to absolutely leave zero doubt. I think it's 31-3, something like that. I think it's just a whipping. I don't think it's close. I don't care if it's a division game. I think Houston's going to come out fired up. That crowd's going to be fired up. They've got to win this game. Give me the Texans.
Yeah, and I will say one thing. I think Shane Steichen's fine. I think he's going to be okay. He's going to be the head coach for this team next year. He had 3 quarterback injuries. I mean, he had Richardson, Jones, and Leonard all hurt down the stretch. So they had to bring in 44-year-old Phillip Rivers out of nowhere. And that's just – you just can't win with that, especially on short notice like that. So I think the ownership's going to understand that a little bit and give him a little bit of grace here, and see how he does next year, because this team was one of the most exciting teams in the AFC before Daniel Jones got hurt. So next up, we've got the New York Jets, who, in my opinion, worst team in football. That's including the Titans, everyone. I think the New York Jets are easily the worst team roster-wise in the NFL. They're going on the road to play Buffalo in January. It's just, this isn't going to go well. I don't care what the line is. I'm going with the Bills. -10, yeah, that's easy money for me for the Bills. I do not like the Jets here. Obviously, are they starting
Brady Cook?
Brady Cook again? Yeah, he's got 1 touchdown, 7 interceptions. You can't win with that. Breece Hall's out. That's their only, and Braylon Allen's out for the year with a knee injury. So you're going with Isaiah Davis.
If you look at that,
That's
Garrett
insane.
Wilson hasn't played since like week 6. Like, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculously bad football going on in New York.
Isaiah Davis isn't even playing, so they don't. I don't know who their running back's going to be today. There's going to be their practice squad running back is who's starting today. Let me see.
Braylon Allen.
Braylon Allen's out for the year with a knee injury.
Well, then I'll tell you what. Like, I wonder if this is a situation where you fire Aaron Glenn.
I think it's good enough.
I think that, when they went back I can't remember where it was in the season, but there was a point where Garrett Wilson was like in his face about decisions made at the end of the half. I think it was the Buffalo game, and it just feels like this team is just absolutely not behind him. I don't see any spotlight. I mean, the Jets, to their credit, did make some trades. They traded Sauce Gardner. They traded Quentin Williams. They have 3 first-round picks in the upcoming draft this year. One of them is Dallas, and that pick's going to be in the upper echelon because Dallas is not going to make the playoffs, and the other one is Indianapolis. So they're going to have 3 picks in the top 25 for sure in this draft. And I think that there's an opportunity for them to go out and get some key core players in this draft if you pick all 3 first or trade out and get more. But the culture does not feel right in New York. It feels like the worst culture there. I mean, there's a reason why Aaron Rodgers isn't there. I think that there might be a chance that they fire Aaron Glenn and bring somebody else in, but I don't know who it would be. You'd have to get a new GM.
The coaching carousel is not – I mean, Matt Nagy's trying to get himself a head coaching job. I don't think he's the answer. Obviously, Mike McCarthy's there.
I will say this about Matt Nagy. He coached the Bears and took them to the playoffs twice with Mitch Trubisky. Now, I think that one of them included a bye week before they changed the formats when the Bears won the division.
Yep.
So I think that he deserves a little more credit, but his quarterbacks were Trubisky and Nick Foles, and, it just wasn't going to pan out there. Yeah. So I think that Nagy, if the Jets decide, they have to decide what they're going to do at quarterback. I would, if I'm the Jets, I'm going to go and I'm going to get Mac Jones, and I'm going to try and trade for Brian Thomas to go with Garrett Wilson. But I also need pass protection there because their pass pro isn't exactly the best. And what are they going to do with Breece Hall?
He's not staying. So much There's
going
no
on
way he's staying.
Utter collapse. I will take the Buffalo Bills to cover
here. Yeah, I think so. Khalil Herbert is the guy that's making the start for the Jets today. It's going to be a mix of Khalil Herbert and Raheem Blackshear and Kene Nguanu.
Yeah, give me the Bills.
Yeah, this is a team that needs to be able to run the ball. But here we go. Detroit Lions 8-8 going on the road to play the Chicago Bears. And the Bears are 3.5-point favorites, and I think this Lions team is completely deflated, especially after what Jared Goff did last week. The Bears are on the up and up. I think we may see the first 4,000-yard passer in Bears history.
God, it only took 100 years.
It only took 100 years. Caleb Williams, all things considered, has had a pretty good year. He had to get some things rolling. He's still a little inaccurate at times, but you see he just has some throws here and there that are just like, okay, that's some of the best throws I've ever seen. He's got probably 3 out of my top 7 best throws of the year. But Caleb Williams had a pretty good year, led this team to an 11-5 record. The defense has been really good, a very good scoring defense. And Swift's over 1,000 yards. Gibbs has had a kind of a down year, which is insane because he has 13 touchdowns and over 1,000 yards, which is crazy. Goff's been doing good, but I think the Bears minus 3.5 here. I know you're not a big fan of either one of these teams as a Packers fan, but yeah, I think the Bears continue to. They're going to clinch a 12-win season, I think.
I'm going to take the Lions in the 3.5. Here's the thing. The Lions have obviously had inconsistencies on the offensive line, but there's nobody on the Bears front four that I think is absolutely dominant besides Sweat. The rest of those guys, you can kind of get around them. I mean, the defense is opportunistic, but I think that you're going to see, in week 2, these teams played, and Detroit beat the brakes off them. They absolutely pounded this Bears team. I think it was like
5 touchdowns from Goff. Yeah,
it was, and it's hard to see. It's hard for me to think that these guys are going to quit on Dan Campbell. The Bears are still. I hope the Bears win so they secure that 2 seed. So let me be clear. That's a hard thing for me to say. I hope the Bears win, but I think that I want them to win the game because I want that Packers-Bears rematch in the playoffs. And if they lose and Philly wins, then the Bears get the 3 seed. So Chicago's going to be playing for everything. But I think it's a close football game. I'm going to take that half point because I think it could be like a 20-17 game or a 24-21 game, something that comes down to a field goal and you get hit in by hook or by crook. I'll take the hook here. I don't know if the Bears are going to rest on their laurels, but Ben Johnson definitely wants to get his first win over Dan Campbell. I can see that playing out here. But I don't think that the Lions are quitting here. I think that they're playing to still have a winning season because they'll be 9-8 with a win.
Yep.
It's crazy. If the Lions win and the Vikings win, every team in the North will have a winning record this season. The Lions will be 9-8. The Vikings will be 9-8, and the Packers would be
9-7-1
and getting in on the tiebreaker. So, but give me Detroit to cover here. I think that either team could win. It wouldn't surprise me either way, but I'm curious to see how they're going to – I think this might be a good game for Gibbs. I know Montgomery's a little disgruntled there, but he might be the only player that's on the disgruntled list. Caleb Williams is going to go smack Detroit. Thank you for joining us, the Fantasy Football Strategist. We appreciate you tuning in. So I will definitely give you a round of applause for joining in. You guys go check out his channel. He just put out a rookie video this morning, I believe it was, or yesterday afternoon.
He's posting stuff daily, man. Once I get my rankings down, I'm getting
even though
close
he's dead
to
wrong.
finishing.
Even though he's wrong about his Bears takes, go subscribe to his channel. He's got good stuff. Takes the time to really give you in-depth analysis. He did a video on Jeremy Bernard I really liked, so it was good to see that him like you have the similar kind of fantasy content. But this week's about betting. And speaking of betting, we're going out west. Are we feeling electric? Are we feeling the Chargers getting 14 here on the road? Neither team has really anything to play for. I guess the Broncos can clinch the 1 seed, so I don't know who's in contention. Is it Jacksonville? I think Jacksonville's the other team.
Jacksonville's the only one. With a win and Denver loses, the Jacksonville Jaguars clinch a 1 seed. So I do think the Broncos are going to be playing hard here. Man, I don't know. It just depends on what version of Bo Nix we get. I think the Chargers cover here. So I'm going to go with Chargers plus 14 just because I don't know what Bo Nix has. And even if we do have a full shocker Bo Nix, I think the Chargers are a good enough football team to where they can cover.
Yeah.
But yeah, Justin Herbert, weirdly enough, a lot of interceptions. He had barely any interceptions last year. He threw more interceptions in the playoffs last year than he did in the entire 2024 season. This year he's got 13 picks, 26 touchdowns. He has not been a great quarterback this year. He's been okay, but there's been games where he just does not show up, just like Bo Nix. But Bo Nix has had an even better season than Herbert with less weapons, in my opinion. So obviously we've got RJ Harvey, who's been doing pretty good touchdown-wise for the Broncos. I think he's a solid candidate for dynasty owners right now. Omarion Hampton's been hurt, so he's not the leading rusher, but I think he's good. Cortland Sutton, Lad McConkey. I mean, there's just not a ton of injuries on either side here that's really just been like, okay, this isn't going to work for either team. So yeah, I like the Chargers at full health plus 14 here. I don't think they win the game outright, but plus 14 for the Chargers really seems like a good bargain for me.
Yeah, I'll take 2 touchdowns in a division game. Even if some of these players aren't playing, I think you could see the Chargers just slowing it down,
Yep.
running the football. The game is in Mile High, so I mean Denver's going to come out trying. And I think there might be an opportunistic defense here with Jim Harbaugh making a
Yep.
play, a pick six maybe for Bo Nix. I mean, it just feels like this is a spot where the pressure is going to be really on Denver. Not like last year, but clinching the 1 seed would be a massive deal. I mean, that's in 3 seasons Sean Payton's built this team up. I mean, last year they just squeaked in the playoffs and had a really tough go of it on the road. Couldn't get anything going in that Ravens game, but give me the Chargers in the 14 here if you're laying a line here.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, the Chargers are not going to want to lose. I mean, it's the NFL. Like, when you don't have anything to play for, it doesn't matter. You still don't want to lose. The players don't want to lose regardless. So,
Nope.
yeah, I think plus 14 is a pretty good deal for me. Chargers going on the road to play the Rams in SoFi. This is going to be a tough one for the Cardinals. But, I mean, is anybody out for this game? Looks like Harrison, Walter Nolan. Okay, so everyone's hurt. That's great. Still, I think Jacoby Brissett's, I mean, look at those numbers, man. Jacoby Brissett's really, really impressed. And Stafford's coming off his worst game yet as a quarterback this year. So I like the plus 14 for the Cardinals. I think that they can really shock some people with their offense. Michael Wilson's been playing great football for the past 8-9 weeks now. The running backs, they got to figure out the running back position, but I think Jacoby Brissett can make this game at least close. So I like the Cardinals, and we're going to go ahead and talk about this real quick. Blake Corum is better than Kyron Williams. Statistically wise, yes, he is. And honestly, I feel like they're the same running back, but Kyron has just been really inefficient. We'll talk about that more in a minute, but absolutely, I like Blake Corum. I love a lot of what he's done for this football team over the past 5-6 weeks of the season. But how do you feel about this line? I think the Cardinals are getting a little underplayed here. I know the record's bad, but
Well, I'll tell you, I don't think the Rams have anything to play for seeds or none of that stuff. They can either be the 5 or the 6. I think that's the same thing with the 49ers now, so they may be able to swap because the 7 seed's locked in Green Bay. But I don't know how much that's going to play into this game. It's a home game, but I think the Cardinals have quit on Jonathan Gannon. I think they're going to bring him back next year, but it just feels like the team is fully deflated. But a part of it could be major injuries here. Kyler Murray's situation. They have not won a game since Kyler Murray's been injured. They've lost every single game since Brissett's been their starter. I mean, they've had a couple close ones. They could have beat Green Bay. They could have won a few other ones. But nonetheless, it just feels like
horrible.
Everything out here is deflated. I live in Arizona. I hear things on the news and the radio and stuff like that. I'm going to take the Rams to cover the 14. I just don't think that they're going to play anybody worth a lick in Arizona. I think these guys are going to go through the motions here, and maybe a couple young guys get some looks here. I mean, Trey McBride's had himself a great season. He's TE1 without a doubt. You know, he's got the most catches in a season in NFL history at that position. So there is some upside here. I really do like the players on this Arizona team.
Yeah.
They've just got to figure out a quarterback. I mean, get a trade, send Kyler Murray to the Jets and get some of those firsts. I mean, seriously,
I don't think it's the Jets, but I do think some team's going to be like, Kyler Murray's my guy, because NFL teams are stupid. You know, a lot of GMs have proven in the past that they're like, you know what, this Kyler kid, he hasn't done anything since he's been in the league. He's a first overall pick, right? He's had a good rookie season, and that's pretty much it. Once they figured out how to play against him, they're like, just take away the outside the hashes, and guess what? He's not a good quarterback because he can't see. Look, Kyler Murray, somebody's going to be invested in him. I'm not. I don't know anybody that's as serious. Kyler to the CFL is crazy. But I think Kyler will go to one of these quarterback needy teams, and he's going to struggle there, and he's going to be basically like the next – I don't know why I wanted to go Vinny Testaverde, because I think Vinny Testaverde is a better quarterback. But, you know, Vinny just played everywhere, right? And just was never really a big winner anywhere that he went, at least because of him. You know what I mean? So I think Kyler, he's going to get a job. I don't think the Jets go the small, mobile quarterback that can't throw. I think they're more in the Ty Simpson Mendoza bracket, a guy that's big that can actually play in the pocket, and I think that's what they're going to go for because they already tried the mobile quarterback with Fields last year, and it just or this year, and they did not. It did not work out. One thing I do want to point out: 315 yards is the most rushing yards for any running back for the Cardinals. 315 by Michael Carter. That's insane.
Well, that's the thing about next year. Like, they'll have Trey Benson healthy. They'll have, I don't know what they're going to do with James Conner. This team will be at full health. I mean, Walter Nolan will be back.
He looks
Calais
great.
Campbell will probably retire. But, you know, I think the Cardinals need to get some interior linemen. They need to figure out what they're going to do with the quarterback situation. I think they should run it back with, if they're going to keep Gannon, my take is play Kyler one more year because he's going to be on your books unless you get a ridiculous offer. Everybody's going to be healthy.
Someone's going to offer.
You know, it just, if you're going to go out, you've either got one or two options next year. Play Kyler, you keep Gannon on as coach, you keep drafting, because I do like what Monty Ossenford has done here with building this roster. Mac Wilson will be back. Get yourself another pass rusher if you can in the draft. That's if I'm Arizona, I'm looking to get some that, or another player in the secondary. I mean, we talk about Will Johnson, but he's been kind of underwhelming. So it's just, maybe they go, you know, they've drafted the other corner from Kentucky. Those guys got to develop. I think next year you go all in with what you got, to the chagrin of the families. If you're going to keep Gannon, get a healthy Kyler. Trey McBride will be healthy. Everybody will be fully healed. There's no Marvin Harrison will be healthy. Michael Wilson's shown that he can be a good solid number wide receiver too. They've got the tight end. Get yourself some interior linemen, get a pass rusher, and just, you know, get a new safety. I don't like their safeties. I like Deontay Thompson, but the other side, I'm not so sure. And just run it back with them because Kyler is on the books. So build your draft, develop those guys if you're going to stick with Gannon. Now, if you get rid of Gannon, then you got to blow it all up. And maybe just run it back with him, even though he's such a strange head coach. I mean, get yourself a running back in this draft. You know, figure it out. You know, there's a few running backs that I think could fit really well here. Trey Benson. So he's going to probably be RB1 next year. That's my take. And we haven't seen what he's been able to do because he hasn't been healthy. So that's what I'm doing if I'm the Cardinals. I mean, I know that everybody here hates Michael Bidwell running the team. And they're tired of losing football games here. I mean, but that's what I'm doing. If I'm keeping Gannon, I'm keeping it all together. If I'm getting rid of Gannon, I'm blowing it up. So just my take, but I will take the Rams to cover here.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into this next game. We have the Dolphins, who are 7-9 by some grace of God, going on the road playing the New England Patriots, 13-3. I think they're also in contention for the number one seed as well, so they're going to be playing pretty hard in this game. Minus 13.5. The Dolphins, I'm going to say, yeah, it looks like it's going to be old Quinn Ewers again starting. With that being said, I know I say, I think the Patriots cover here. They can really smash some teams in the mouth. I like their team a lot, and they're going to be playing hard for that one seed for the bye. So I like minus 13.5 here. Quinn Ewers is horrific in my opinion. I know he's had a decent showing 2 weeks ago, but yeah, I'm staying so far away from Quinn Ewers and this Dolphins offense. And Achane is a big part of this offense. Doesn't look like he's going to play. So like the Patriots.
Ollie Gordon season?
Ollie Gordon's going to be playing here. I was pretty underwhelmed with Ollie Gordon this year. Just isn't fast. He's just you don't have to be fast off the line of scrimmage. Look at Derrick Henry. He's not super fast off the line of scrimmage. But, yeah.
He's a specimen, though. Like, Derrick Henry's a specimen.
He can build up speed while Ollie Gordon cannot. You put the fear of God in DiMercado. Yeah, he was my QB 100. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he was at the very bottom of my rankings. He was the worst. Well, Ja'Cory Brooks was my worst graded wide receiver. He was the worst graded rookie out of everything. But Quinn Ewers was by far the worst quarterback that I graded last year.
Ja'Cory Brooks will always be famous for catching that touchdown pass in Auburn when Bryce Young took him 97 yards down the field and caught the game-tying touchdown in Auburn that year. And then the 2-point conversion went to John Mechie. But I'm going to take the Dolphins in the points here. They've put Tua as emergency quarterback, so it feels like the team has responded that a little bit. I wasn't sure how that was going to play out. I'm not as down on Quinn Ewers as you are. I think that he's shown that he's able to play these games and be okay. I mean, they're not going to play any major starters, and is Jalen Waddle going to be in there? I know that the Patriots are also trying to get the 1 seed. Is that possible?
Yeah,
I think that there's a lot of teams here that are really trying to play for something, so that's why the line is so high. But I think you're going to see Miami try and do a few things and just experiment with the playbook and catch the Patriots off guard here. I mean, is Travion Henderson going to play? Is it going to be the Ramondre Stevenson show? Because he's shown he can play. Ramondre had that really tumultuous start. That's the second time I've used that word in this broadcast, by the way. But he had a really horrendous start.
Yep.
And I think that he's going to be a little bit of a difference maker here. I think that we're going to see, but not enough. I think that that's too many points for a team that they've said Mike McDaniel is going to be back next year. I think that he's going to be able to dial something up. The Dolphins have been a thorn in the Patriots side. If you look on the screen right there, it says New England chasing their first sweep of Miami since 2016. So it's been almost 10. It's been 10 seasons since they've swept them.
Yep.
I don't think you're going to see New England put too much on tape here. Give me the Dolphins covering 13.5. I think it's very possible. So give me Miami there. It just feels like that's just going to be. So.
All right, and here's another line that I found really interesting. The Commanders going on the road to play the Philadelphia Eagles. Commanders are a really lousy football team as well, with Jaden Daniels being out. Look, I said this last time we were on the air. Jaden Daniels, I think, is one of the most overrated quarterbacks, at least from a fantasy football perspective, in a very long time. He's not healthy. And I told you guys about Cliff Kingsbury and his offenses. It takes a year. You get a whole year of film on Cliff Kingsbury. All of his tricks are out the bag, and he gets figured out. And I think Jaden Daniels is more a product of how good that offense was without people figuring out what it was.
He's not playing today.
I know. I'm talking about Jaden Daniels in general. I just don't think you should invest in him next year if you're doing fantasy football or dynasty. If you're doing startups or just any drafts in general, I would say far, far away from Jaden Daniels. But the line here, -3.5 here for the Philadelphia Eagles. Are people not starting? Like, I know Lane Johnson's out. I mean, are they resting people here? It's interesting because I'm not seeing any news where they've ruled anybody out.
I think the line is more so that we're seeing the Philadelphia Eagles are. It's just been a disaster offensively. I mean, they just haven't been able to click together. I know that A.J. Brown's got a ton of points, but every game you've watched with them, regardless who the opponent is, they play down to their level. You know what I mean? Mariota's out, so It looks like he's listed as out there.
Josh Johnson's going to be playing quarterback for him once again. I think that's his third start.
I think that this line is there for a reason. And with that being said, I'm going to take the Commies +3.5. I mean, that total is so low. It's so low for an NFL game with a team that's got a massive rushing attack like the Eagles do, but we've seen Saquon Barkley just not be able to be what he was last season with all the receiving that he had. I mean, last year was like a massive monster year for Saquon.
Yep.
I think that you're going to see the Commanders just fight. I'm going to take the Commanders here in the points. I don't think it's anything else but that.
Yeah, I'm on the opposite train here. I think the Eagles can beat the crap out of this team because the defense is just terrible for the Commanders, and I think Jalen Hurts is going to have a really good game here. Put a stamp on it to get into the playoffs. Yeah, the collegiate offense, dude. Like, last year it was good because they were able to just hit these, short plays for big yardage. And that's why I thought Debo would be good. Obviously, 700 yards and 5 touchdowns. Not really great for him historically, but it does lead the team. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt has had a decent year. I don't know if he's the answer long term, but he has had a few big games here and there.
I'm going to push back.
Yeah, go ahead.
On that just a little bit. So the trend was with Cliff Kingsbury in Arizona, he got figured out. But I also think that Jaden Daniels gives you more options than Kyler Murray. He's bigger. And I think he's more talented than Kyler. And I think that with Jaden Daniels getting hurt, and there's still some holes on this team, and Mariota's been played pretty well in the offense as well, right? I think that this team benefited the previous year from a lousy schedule, snuck in the playoffs, gets that big win in Detroit. That's not an easy place to play. With Dan Campbell there, Lions fans came out in full force, and it was a joy to watch because I predicted that. I've got proof that I predicted that the Commies would go in there and win way back in October somewhere else. But nonetheless, I think next season you're going to see this offense be just as efficient. I don't know if JCM is going to be their long-term solution at running back. They've got Debo, they've got Scary Terry. They've got the up-and-coming tight end. I don't know if Zach Ertz is going to play again next season, but they've got Ben Sinnott.
Yep.
Right? Sinnott, or how do you say his name?
Sinnott.
I think that the Commanders next season will be more competitive. I don't think that's necessarily Kingsbury just slumps like this. I think you got a better quarterback, more fit for his system than Kyler. And I think you've got better personnel here. They did have DeAndre Hopkins down here when Cliff was here. That was more in his prime. But you've got Debo who can do things like run end arounds. And it's so funny because Debo looks heavy and then he just runs away from defenders. It is a wild phenomenon. But, maybe they'll get, I'm going to put a hot take here. Here comes a hot take, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just, I got to put this up here. Hold on one second here. So let me just bust this out for us. So it's just going to be a hot take. Commanders in the offseason. You ready for it? Brandon Ayuk. Come on down back with Debo. Go with Scary Terry. Then you got 3, wideouts here that you're going to have to pick your poison. And then you just got to be able to run the ball efficiently. And I think with those RPOs that Kingsbury does or they like to do, they can be a dangerous football team. Bobby Wagner is going to eventually have to be replaced, so they're going to have to look at linebackers in the upcoming draft. But that being said, I'm going to take the Commanders plus 3.5 here.
All right. Well, we're going to look at the last game of the night, last game of the season, actually, until the playoffs. The Baltimore Ravens are going on the road to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers are trying their hardest to have another 9-8 season. It's going to be a good game. The line right now in Baltimore minus 3.5. Lamar is playing. I think the Steelers win this game.
I do too.
Because the Ravens have just been underwhelming, man. Lamar statistically has been fine. Derrick Henry obviously is great, but every time that they need to win a big game, it's just they don't do it. They always lose. And I think the Steelers are going to come in, and I think Rodgers is going to game manage this game. And defensively, with TJ Watt back, I think they're going to give Baltimore some troubles.
This feels like, even though Lamar, like you said, has statistically been right, he has been banged up all season. Yep. He's missed time. Snoop Huntley went out there and basically showed the platform for how the Ravens are going to be with just running the ball like they did last week against Green Bay. I don't know if they can do that against the Steelers. The Steelers are really missing DK Metcalf. Just being an idiot. Don't let fans get in your head. You cannot do it. You can't do it. You can't engage with fans and cost your team, because now, without you out there, you can potentially cost your team the playoffs because you're a knucklehead. And I don't, I don't feel sorry for him. So it puts more pressure on Rodgers. They're going to obviously be running the ball with Jaylen Warren and Gainwell. So there's opportunities to make plays running the football, and I think TJ Watt is going to play. And all the stakes are on primetime AFC North, outdoors in the cold. This is the only division where nobody plays in a dome. I love that about this division. But I think you're going to get the Steelers at home here. I think you're going to see Aaron Rodgers have himself a Sunday night moment. He even made a comment in the presser that he's never had back-to-back lousy games, which I thought was extreme confidence. But that's something that he can say. He's got a track record playing the NFL for so long to get that done, to make those kind of general statements.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Steelers getting a turnover late. If I'm them, I'm really going to make Lamar make plays without Derrick Henry. I'm going to make you throw it to Zay. I'm going to make you throw it to Bateman. I'm going to make you throw it to Mark Andrews and put a ton of pressure on Lamar Jackson, because even though Lamar's practiced this week, Rashad Bateman's out. So
yep.
Did that say Marlon Humphrey's out too?
Questionable with an illness. He'll probably play.
But I think we're going to see something from the Steelers. I think they win a close game. Give me the Steelers to win outright. But it's my free play of the day was the Steelers. Give me Pittsburgh to win the North, host a playoff game next week.
Hope Derrick Henry sends Rodgers into retirement. Crying. Will be interesting to see if Todd Monken remembers that Henry exists.
I wonder if he's a Bears fan.
He is a Ravens fan.
So if he's a Bears fan, or because he's made two former Packers sentiments. First he said Caleb Williams, and now he's saying Aaron Rodgers. Like, show me on the doll where he hurt you, buddy. It's okay. Like, it's okay.
We both love Caleb Williams here. We've loved Caleb Williams since before he got drafted to the Bears. But that was it for the NFL. I do want to go ahead and talk briefly about the games that happened for the college football playoff last weekend.
Okay.
Oregon Ducks really exposed the Texas Tech Red Raiders. I mean, beat them up, man. Beat them up 23-0. Morton could not get anything going, made multiple really bad passes. I got a thing that I want to broadcast out here, and I want to see if the fantasy football strategist. I don't think he's done quarterbacks yet. I always do quarterbacks first. I'm gonna see if he shares the sentiment, if he's watched some film on this guy. But go ahead and tell me how you felt about this game. 23-0, Texas Tech. This was a neutral site, right?
All the bowl games are neutral site. Texas Tech. The scoreboard is a little more bloated than it should be.
Yeah.
Texas Tech had thrown 2 interceptions to a freshman, and that freshman also had a fumble recovery.
Yep.
So there were opportunities for them to score points here. I think that this is a little bit of coaching inexperience also as well. I mean, Dan Lanning's got the experience. Finally gets a playoff win here, gets them to the semifinals. I think that, like I said, it was a super closer game. Neither team can offensively get things going, but it managed to get it done. So I don't I'm going to tell you this right now. I know we're going to go over all 4 of the games here, or the semifinals quickly.
Yep.
But I don't think that Oregon or Indiana can beat Ole Miss or Miami. That's what I'm going to say. I think whoever wins the Ole Miss-Miami game will win the national championship. And we'll get to Miami when you get to that game. But sorry, my dog's getting his nails cut. I don't know if you can hear him whining. He's getting his nails cut, and he's a real scaredy cat. But
yeah, I agree with that. I think Indiana's the team to beat right now, but I think Miami has the best. I don't think Ole Miss beats Miami, and I think we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, I agree with you. I think Oregon offensively is not going to be able to do anything against any of the teams in this. Any of the teams left. I think Oregon's the worst team that's left.
Yeah, it feels that way.
Even though they've had the best.
Couldn't get nothing going, man. They just couldn't get anything going either. It was a really sloppy game. I mean, there was a turnover late. That's why, and Oregon basically had their big boy drive at the end of the game where they were deflated. Yep. You could see it. I mean, Texas Tech didn't quit. It's a good season for them. They're going to be a force in the Big 12. I think they're going to run the Big 12 with all the NIL money. I don't think anybody else in the Big 12 comes close to Texas Tech's spending ability. It's going to be theirs for the taking. I don't think Arizona State can do it. Mendoza, Simpson, and Moore has more rushing upside. It's not Simpson because he doesn't run anymore. Mendoza doesn't really run either. Both of those guys, in my opinion, just run when necessary.
Yep.
Simpson stopped doing it. There's been a few times where we've watched him as an Alabama fan, me as an Alabama fan, to where there are opportunities for him to take off and get a first down, and he hasn't do it. And quite honestly, I don't think he's going to declare. I think he's
I
going to
don't
come
think
back.
so either. I think he's had he's had a really bad trajectory towards the end of the season with this game, him getting taken out because of the injury to his shoulder or his elbow or whatever happened to him in that game. Then he had the bad game versus the Division II, and then he just hasn't had he started off great and then just kind of delved down. I still think he's going to be a first round quarterback, which may make him declare anyways.
If he is,
we'll have to see.
That's the speculation. If he declares, he's going to go pro. If he's a first round talent.
Yep.
But it might be smart for him to go pro anyway because next year's draft class is loaded. And he might get lost in the shuffle there. So it might be smart for him to go pro. And quite honestly, somebody started a rumor I was reading that he might transfer to Tennessee or something, or Oregon along those lines.
He could really get some numbers going there.
But, when we get to Alabama, I'll have my summary on Alabama. But good question there. But, yeah, this game was closer. Oregon was, just not as dominant. So
to answer your question, I think it's Simpson. Moore does like to run, but he's like Shedeur Sanders trying to run. He has remember we did an in-depth about Shedeur Sanders last year. He reminds me so much of Shedeur Sanders trying to run. The rushing intelligence is just not there for Moore. Simpson, I think, is the best athlete out of the three. So I'm going to go with Simpson, even though he doesn't do it a whole lot. I think Simpson's the best athlete out of the three.
All right.
But my thing is, Dante Moore, I think if he goes in the first round, whoever drafts him, they're not going to have a good time with Dante Moore. I think he's the bust of the first round quarterbacks. I do not see anything on film. There was not a single. I watched 5-6 games, all 22, every single play of Dante Moore. He is in all facets, athletically, arm talent, decision making, everything. He is worse at everything than Dillon Gabriel was. Same offense. Dillon Gabriel was better, head and shoulders, everything than Dante Moore. And Dillon Gabriel was a third-round quarterback, and he does not – it is the Browns. So I think Dante Moore, if he gets picked in the first round, he is not going to be a good quarterback in the NFL. We've already seen in the past that this Oregon offense really, panders to the quarterback and inflates their numbers. Dante Moore did not make many throws where I was like, okay, that's an NFL throw. He makes a lot of short screens. His rushing intelligence is terrible. He runs out of clean pockets way too much. I think Dante Moore's the bust of the first round. No hate to Dante Moore, but I'm curious to see what you think about Dante Moore. But next game, very surprising win for the Ole Miss Rebels. Their only loss was against Georgia in the regular season. They come out there, put 20 points in the fourth quarter to win this game. I thought for sure this was going to be an overtime game, but Ole Miss got it done, man. Ole Miss just got it done. And Trinidad Chambliss, what a great story for him. Did not get recruited out of high school, goes to Ferris State, is a backup at Ferris State. Then he wins the Division II national championship, comes in, isn't even supposed to be the guy for Ole Miss until Austin Simmons gets hurt. He was really just playing really bad football. And Trinidad comes in, and I watched this kid live this year. He doesn't make any mistakes. He's really smart with the football. He's really good at using his legs to make a lot of opportunities happen, extend the play. There was a couple plays in this Georgia game where he was going full Johnny Manziel mode. I like Trinidad. I think he's the second best quarterback in this college football playoff picture right now. I think he proved that tonight. He really showed up, or he proved this versus this Georgia Bulldogs defense. really went out there and proved that he's a real deal quarterback. Lucky pickup for the Ole Miss Rebels for sure. They end up winning 39-34. How'd you feel about this game? Did you watch this? I was watching pretty closely, obviously, because I'm a Mississippi native. But yeah, I mean, really tough first half, and then ended up coming back and winning the game.
Quick summary. I watched this game on ESPN too because I really, really got a better feel for the game with that camera view. And it was really enjoyable because I watched, like, it gave me a whole new perspective on watching football in real time on coaches' film. I don't like the Amazon Prime view because it moves around too much.
Yeah.
But, like, you're getting the radio feed. It was Georgia's radio feed, but they had it on this game.
Talking about the sky cam, right?
Like, they didn't change camera angles. They stayed in that Madden view is what I call it, where you're behind the quarterback on offense. And man, oh man, do I think that Ole Miss is special. I'm not surprised. When I turned that on, I'm not surprised they beat Georgia. It changed my whole perspective. You don't have any bias from the not that they give bias, but the main television commentary broadcast. This was a radio, and even though it was Georgia radio, they did a great job. But we were seeing this guy make quick decisions. I think that this guy is going to be an elite quarterback, Chambliss. I do. Holy Moses. I don't know what else to say. Absolute elite. I think Ole Miss next year, I have mixed feelings about Pete Golding, but I'm not surprised. I had Ole Miss plus 6.5 in that game. I don't know what the line is for the Miami game yet, but I really liked what I saw at Ole Miss. I think they're a serious national title contender. I think Lane Kiffin is going to have extreme remorse leaving to go to LSU. I believe this in my heart. I think that they're special. You could see Georgia's weaknesses, and I saw that Ole Miss absolutely exploited them. Lots of quick throws. He had command of the offense late in the game. Kirby Smart gave the game away. What are you doing running a fake punt inside your own 30? Did you not learn this against Alabama when you did the same thing with Justin Fields?
The defense is the real deal. I mean, they're with the head coach, their defense is, I mean, obviously
this game is on Kirby.
Teams, but
it's on Kirby. Kirby Smart just lost a playoff game to Pete Golding. Like, that is a sentence I never thought I would say. Never in my life. Good for Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss Miami is the Fiesta Bowl is the game this week. I cannot wait. Like, after the Rose Bowl, I gotta have something to look forward to, and this is it. Like, this could be the national championship game. I just feel it in my soul, man.
Yeah.
What a game for Ole Miss.
And then speaking of a game, I know Alabama, you know, they beat Oklahoma, was on the up and ups, and then they faced the Indiana Hoosiers, and the Indiana Hoosiers just ran them over, man. Alabama couldn't do anything on offense, and, you know, Indiana really started piling it on in the second quarter. Yeah, I mean, Indiana is the real deal, I think. You know, they don't have necessarily the recruits. They do mainly out of the transfer portal, but all these kids believe in their coach, and they've been playing hard all year long, blowing out teams. Even though they had a soft schedule, they've been blowing everybody out. Yeah, how did you feel about this team? Mendoza only had to throw 16 times, 2 incompletions, 3 touchdowns. Obviously, Ty Simpson got hurt. How did you feel about Mack in his short? I thought he looked pretty decent at quarterback, so that might be the guy after if Ty Simpson declares. But how did you feel about this game overall? Obviously, not much to talk about since, you know, y'all couldn't get the running game going. But yeah, how did you feel overall?
That's the problem.
Yeah,
Indiana absolutely in the first drive of the game, Indiana got the ball, right, and got sacked twice on the opening stanza.
Yep,
back-to-back sacks, punted the ball away, right. Alabama cannot run the football. And I think the reason that I have some optimism for next season is because Ty Simpson, I don't think is going to be there next year. I don't think he's going to be the quarterback. I think if he doesn't declare, he's going to transfer out. I believe it. Or he's going to be on the bench. Like, it's just going to be Kalen DeBoer's team next year, because this is what I was telling a friend of mine who lives in Alabama that we talk about this, because he was obviously up in arms about the performance. The second half, Indiana just gave him the business. You could see Alabama quitting, which I haven't seen in so long. Like, they just couldn't get themselves to get back up. They were a team that if you took the lead on them heavy like this, they couldn't come back from it this season. The offensive line, Caden Proctor is going to go pro. Ty Simpson likely going to go pro. Jam Miller didn't start. Cuevas was injured, right? But all those guys are Saban guys. And I think that putting Saban guys in a Kalen DeBoer roster, I guess would be the word I want to say here, doesn't pan out for the system that they want to run. And I think next season, all the Saban guys are gone. All of them. Alabama, every wide receiver they've recruited for the last 4 seasons is transferred out. They didn't recruit Bernard. They didn't recruit Horton. Ryan Williams is another Saban guy. I think he'll be back, though. I think next year, and Alabama fans have just been absolutely losing their minds, myself included, because we're seeing schemes that we're not used to seeing. We don't see these orbit, reverse screens. It's not Alabama football. It hasn't been for so long. Alabama football has been Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, Damian Harris, Najee Harris, Mark Ingram, Trent Richardson, Bo Scarborough, running it down your throat. And that's what Indiana looked like. They look like a Saban team with the relentlessness. I think Kurt Cignetti, it's funny because, everybody tries to compare him to Nick Saban, but Saban didn't just constantly make a scowling face like Cignetti does. Saban is always talking and moving and parts and motions. Cignetti just watches with a scowl. I don't know why he does that, but they're getting the job done. Yep. And I have to just tip my hat to Indiana. There's no excuses for this. I'm not making excuses for what they did because they massacred Alabama. Massacred them. As far as Austin Mack goes, they were coming down the field there, and I think if they score a touchdown, there in the third quarter, instead of that field goal, they get a little momentum, but instead there was penalties. Yep. Alabama has, here's the thing. The first year with Kalen DeBoer, they missed the playoffs. The second year, this team's been so inconsistent, but they kept winning games against a tough schedule. They did go into Georgia and win. They lost. They made the SEC championship, right? That's a step up from last year. Then they win a road playoff game. That's another step up. You know what I mean? They were the only team to do that in the first round. Well, Miami did as well. So I think that the outlook is good. I also want to point out that Indiana, nearly everybody on Indiana is over 20 years old. This is a experienced football team, and that's working in their favor. But this is going to sound like a hater take, but it's not. I didn't see anything that Fernando Mendoza can do against against Ole Miss or Miami. I think they're going to make his life hell if Indiana wins. I do. I think that whoever wins that Fiesta Bowl wins the national championship. It's not indicting in Indiana. It's nothing like that. I have to stop with my Indiana hate because they absolutely just put belt to ass to Alabama. Humility. But I'm being objective here. I think that they got you can't come out. Alabama can't come out and look like that every week. And Indiana's a much better team than Oklahoma. But there were some one-on-one situations where Alabama got cooked and they were getting gashed on the ground.
That's the big thing, right? They ran 50 times.
Next year, we're going to see it's going to be Kalen DeBoer's team, and I think it's going to be Keon Russell over Austin Mack. I do like how big Austin Mack is and can make those. I think Austin Mack might transfer as well. Might be a quarterback competition because, Russell's a 5-star. He was the number 1 quarterback in that class. But the recruiting class is magnificent. Can't be pessimistic if you're an Alabama fan. Just tip your hat. And it's been it's a 5-touchdown ass whipping. And, it might be good for them in the offseason to realize, look, we've got these inconsistencies. We need to make some changes here. So, that's all. You just got to tip it to Indiana. Those 14 for 16 for 192 for 3 touchdowns, hyper efficient, but averaging how many yards per throw on that? 12 yards a throw. It just felt like there were some situations there where Alabama could have executed and didn't. In the second half, they were gassed. And the wet field, not making excuses, but Indiana just gave it to them. Alabama, we get next year. They'll be fine.
Yeah. So here is your national championship. Basically, is what you're saying. Yes. Miami, Ole Miss. This is where? Where's this at? Arizona.
Yep.
I wonder what the tickets are costing over there right now.
$300, dude. I'm not going.
Oh, jeez Louise.
It's a
I
playoff
mean,
game.
like you said, well, I feel like this is, you know, these are two very good teams. The line's
Mhm.
really close. Miami minus 3.5 point favorites, which is interesting.
Yep.
Because Ole Miss is the higher seed. But I agree with it. I think the defense can really give people problems. And I think Carson Beck, while I don't think I think he'll be an okay backup at the NFL. In the NFL, I think he's going to be good enough to game manage his way through this game. And Miami's going to win a low scoring game like they have pretty much all throughout their playoff appearance. Carson Beck and this team have gone through the gauntlet. They had to play Texas A&M, who everybody was scared of. They said they were the boogeyman of the SEC. They beat them, right? Then they go and they played who'd they play last? I'm blanking on the team. They had to play Ohio State, the defending national champions. I mean, they had to play the best teams,
Yep.
consensus wise, every single time. And Miami still came up and won.
Yep.
I think minus 3.5 for the Hurricanes is good, and I think they win this game. I would take the under though on the points. I think this is a 20 to 13 win, something like that. It's going to be really low scoring, I think. And whoever's at the number 1 overall pick, I think it's criminal. And let me emphasize this: it is criminal for what's the guy's name? The defensive player, the edge rusher for the Hurricanes. Man, why am I blanking on his name? He's number 4.
His name escapes me. I know
he's a stud, and I think he should be a top 5 pick. If this draft wasn't full of a bunch of solid quarterbacks, I think he'd go first overall. But,
so if the Raiders get rid of Max Crosby, then that's who they get.
You think so? You don't think they go quarterback with what's been going on with them and Geno Smith?
No, I don't. Because I don't think that there's anybody that's a franchise-changing quarterback in this draft. Just my take. Nobody in this draft at quarterback position, I think, is elite. I don't think Mendoza's the guy. I'll tell you what. No. But I'll get to that in a minute. So I think Ole Miss wins this game. Okay. And I think that Miami is taking a huge, I watched that Ohio State game, and Miami's defense was just NFL caliber monster elite defense. That was impressive. That was one of the best defensive performances I'd seen. They were sacking Julian Saying, they were getting all over the place, but I think that Chambliss is good enough to beat that defense. I think that Pete Golding this is a crazy statement for me to make because of the malpractice he did at Alabama as a defensive coordinator, putting Will Anderson in coverage. I'll never get over it. And Bill O'Brien ran that offense. We're not talking about Alabama. We're talking about Ole Miss. I think that Chambliss can get down the field, and I think that they can run the ball with Lacey and make plays here. I think that they're going to – I like the under on this as well. I think this is a super close defensive football game.
Yep.
Lots of running. But I think that Chambliss will make more plays than Beck. I think Beck might do one of those late turnovers. A lot of people like to make puns about him and stuff like that, but I think he's been okay. But if you look at those interceptions, he's got 10 interceptions. Chambliss only has 3. Chambliss has more passing yards. I'm going to take Ole Miss to win the game outright. Give me the money line on this one.
And you know what? I want to so bad because Trinidad is the better quarterback. My problem is Mark Fletcher. You saw what Georgia did. Yes, Georgia lost the football game, but they were able to run on Ole Miss. And I think that's what Miami's going to do with Fletcher. Fletcher's had a great playoff appearance thus far, and I think that's what's going to be the difference. I think Miami's going to be able to stop Kyron Lacey, even though he's had a phenomenal year. Look at those numbers. Almost 1,500 rushing yards, 23 touchdowns. He's fighting through injury. But I do, for the Dynasty guys watching right now, Malachi Toney, true freshman, 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns. I am really impressed with him. Great ball skills. Reminds me a lot of, he's a little smaller, but, kind of reminds me a little bit of Devonta Smith in a lot of ways. And you saw what he did in college. I mean, won a Heisman. So very excited for this game. So we'll see. What's quarterback one? Lagway, I have no idea about. Julian Sayin just showed me that he's not about that. I don't think it's any of these guys. I think it's going to be someone else. I think someone else is going to come in and take that number one spot. Maybe Arch. Arch has really been playing a lot better football here lately. Maybe with a little bit more experience under his belt next year, maybe he comes out and shows that he's a Heisman level quarterback. But we'll see. I think it's going to be someone else, though. Not sure who, though. All right, well, let's go ahead and talk about the last game before we start preparing for our Packers and Packers and Vikings game, NFC North showdown. Oregon and Indiana. I think we agree Oregon's the worst team left in the playoffs, which by proxy, that means Indiana wins this football game. I think Indiana -4 is really good. They've already beat them in the regular season. What was that score, by the way?
10 points. They won by 10 in Eugene.
By 10 in Eugene, Oregon, 30-20. I think Indiana has only looked better since that game.
Yeah.
They've accomplished way more. They've beat Ohio State. They've, smashed Alabama last week. I think they are riding a all-time high right now. Kurt Signetti's really feeling himself. I think Dan Lanning's going to get beat up here. Dante Moore's really regressed over the past few weeks. I think the Indiana Hoosiers come out here, maybe not as bad as what they did to Alabama, but I think that's something very similar because they've been blowing teams out all year long. I think Indiana smashes them.
We're about to wrap this up real quick because we're going to take a short break before we do our Packers-Vikings live cast. So I'll just say I'll take the Hoosiers as a more fundamentally sound football team here. Even in a rematch, I think Oregon really was fortunate to win last week. I think Indiana can do the same thing. So give me Indiana to win and play in the national championship against Ole Miss.
Absolutely. Well, with that, guys, I think that's everything. If you guys are interested in watching our watch party for the Packers and the Vikings, will be on in probably about 10-15 minutes. So come check us out, man.
Thank you guys so much. 25 viewers. You can 25 viewers. You can go on his webpage or on his YouTube or mine to see the live stream. We're going to be commentating Packers Vikings for the NFC North meaningless game, but that's who I like to watch, and the Bears are not in the early window. So thanks too much for tuning in, and we will see you guys soon.